actually students of John Rambo's. We came up from Hagerstown, Maryland, and a couple years ago, my partner here, Brandon, and I had the privilege of going up to Samu's place at WXW and working with him and some of the guys, and it's been a real treat to do that. And on a recent trip up there, we were just kind of hanging out at one of the workers' houses after the show, and someone said, "Come on, Sam, we got to go." And he said, "Hold on a minute, I'm hanging out with my friends." And it was an honor for me to not only be a worker to him, but to be his friend and to stand up here on behalf of my trainer and read his speech for Samu's Hall of Fame induction. Like I said, my trainer was John Rambo, and he's a 2010 inductee, and he wanted to be here tonight, but family obligations kept him away, so I'll just read his letter and then we'll be on our way. First off, I want to apologize for not being able to be here in person to read this induction myself, but I recently got married and we're in the process of moving my new family, wife Lisa and stepdaughter Natalie, from Georgia to Hagerstown, Maryland. I wish I could be here to shake Sam's hand and hang out afterwards and have a great time. Sam and I go way back, close to 25 years, when I first began my training with his father, Appa, at the Wild Samoan Training Center. Sam was already a huge TV and international wrestling star, having been the youngest wrestler to ever main event in Madison Square Gardens. I could go on and on listing all the accomplishments of this true pro wrestling great who comes from a legacy of legends in the business. Instead, I want to speak about the man I've grown to know and care about as an actual real-life brother. Sam is the type of person who thinks highly of family and friends. If you are a friend of Sam's, you know you have a special friendship. He is the type of person, just like his father, who'll do whatever he can to help a student or wrestler achieve their fullest potential. He is not in this business for the sole purpose of making money. Keeping up with the NEPWHOF tradition, Samu takes great pride in giving back to this business by doing so many of the things he does. In a time and age when it is difficult to run shows, Sam doesn't miss a beat, keeping the action rolling in his well-respected WXWC4 organization. Steady shows and a quality local TV product in Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania is what it takes to mold and transform new greenhorn indie wrestlers into top-notch, ready for prime-time professional wrestling workers. In a time and age when so much bad wrestling is out there, Sam is one of the good guys who knows how to train a new prospect and teach them about the ins and outs, the politics, the evils, and everything else about the business. I've had a close working relationship with Sam and his father the past 14 years, and I continue to learn from them. That's the amazing thing about this business. You never stop learning something. And when you stop and think and look back, it's amazing all the great people we have met through pro wrestling. Sam is one of the best friends I have in life. I don't get to see him as often as I would like, but we both know we got each other's back no matter what. I am so thankful for so many things in life, and getting into pro wrestling, believe it or not, is one of them. It gave me the opportunity to meet Sam, his father, and his family. Joe Bruin made a very wise choice when he selected Sam as a New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame 2011 inductee. One of the criteria Joe looks at when choosing Hall of Famers is what they've done in the business or how they've helped out others in the business, and there aren't too many people out there that match up to Sam's standards. As I stated earlier, he comes from one of the biggest and most respected family dynasties in the business. I am very proud and honored to be a graduate of the Wild Samoan Training Center and to be considered part of the Samoan family. So to you, my big Samoan brother, I congratulate you for this outstanding accomplishment. I know your family, friends, and fans are very proud of you, as well as me. Enjoy this well-deserved moment, and I look forward to shaking your hand in person and heating you up a batch of my famous ham hocks and beans. Congratulations. Samu, 2011 inductee of the New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame.
Also, I want to congratulate Samu. Every time I get in the ring with him, he kicks my ass like usual and sends me flying through the roof with a backdrop. But congratulations, my brother.
Thank you, sir.
My name is, my wrestling name is Yukon Jack. I'm from Connecticut. I got in the wrestling business because Rikishi, Junior Fatu, discovered me one day at a wrestling match, and he asked me to come to his uncle's school, which at that time was in Hamden, Connecticut on Dixwell Avenue. And at that time I said, you know, I'm not going to do it. But I did give him my phone number, and Alpha called me up, and at that time I answered the phone, and he said, "This is Alpha the Wild Samoan, and when are you going to come down to my school?" And I hung up because I watch TV and they can't speak any damn English. So the next week, it was a Monday night, I was watching Monday Night Football, and this guy calls me again. And he said, "Hi, this is Alpha the Wild Samoan, and would you come to my school? You know, don't hang up on me." Click, I hung up again. And I talked to a friend of mine who watched a lot of wrestling. At that time, it was on WPRO TV out of Providence. That's what I watched it on. And I said, "Hey man, some nuts calling me up, and Fatu must have put somebody up to it, because everybody knows the Wild Samoans can't speak English." Anyways, he called me again, and I went up to the school, long story short, and he had a ring in the backyard, and I walked in there, and I got in the ring, and you know, the good Lord takes you on a road, sometimes you don't know where you're going to go. And wrestling for me, the benefits I got, I was blessed because I became part of Alpha's family, and Sam is my brother. He's my Uso. And in Samoan, the word Uso means brother. And he is my brother, and they are my family. That's the way I look at it, and that's the way I was blessed, because I was taken in that family years ago. And Sam's son, Lance, he's 18 years old. He's my godson. Oh, Lance is over right there. Stand up, Lance. The next rock. So, anyways, when I got to know the family, there was a basement, and Alpha had Sam, who was in the basement, living in the basement, Junior Fatu, who became Rikishi, Rodney Adnawai, who became Yokozuna, and you know, all the guys, yeah, Virgil, Mike was in the basement. They all lived there, and they got up every day, went in the backyard, and got banged around the ring, and by Alpha, and worse by, and everybody knows when you get banged around by Sika, when he's in a bad mood, it's not a funny thing. Anyways, long story short, Sam was 17 years old when you were in WWF, right? When you first went in. Now, most of you have to think, when you're in high school, you're 17 years old, you don't know what's up and what's down. And he walked into the world of professional wrestling at 17, which in itself is an amazing thing. And I got this written down. Now, 1983, 1984, WWF. That's right. Sika was hurt, and Sam stepped in, and the rest, well, I'm sure you can find out anything you want, but a young man like that stepping in on the big stage of WWF at that time is an awesome thing. He was just really a kid, but he was born to be in this business, and people have to go to wrestling school and learn it, and he was blessed not only with physical skills, but he had an uncle and a father, probably one of the most successful tag teams, one of the top 5 tag teams in the world, and so he was blessed. And Sam had the skills, and if you watch Sam in a ring at practice and everything else, it was just a beautiful thing to watch. And Rikishi will tell you in a private conversation that he looked up to Sam. Sam was older than Rikishi, he looked up to Sam. Yokozuna looked up to Sam. They patterned themselves after Sam, and that's what they wanted to be. He was known as Big Sam. He wasn't Samu, it was Big Sam. And they loved him, and because of Sam and Alpha and Sika, they became superstars in WWF. And Sam, from WWF, he went to Japan, he tore up Japan, and most of you know that in Japan, wrestling is a little more what they call stiff. In other words, it's a shoot match sometimes where you go in there and it's almost like UFC. I don't know how it is now, I don't watch it, but, and Sam tore up to Japan and got a lot of experience in Japan. From Japan, he went up to Montreal with Dino Bravo and tore up in Montreal and had a good run up there. From there, he went to Puerto Rico, and with Junior Fatu, they became the SST, Samoan SWAT team. And they went down to Puerto Rico and they became tag team champions. In 1987, they went to Texas, and then they worked for the Von Erichs, and which is, they tore up Texas and became tag team champions in Texas as a Samoan SWAT team. From there, correct me if I'm wrong on this, Sam, you went to Crockett in 1989. And Paul E. was there, Paul E. Dangerously, who later started ECW, and then he went in 1992 back to the WWF, where they became the Headshrinkers, managed by Alpha, and where they had a great run, and Yokozuna was there at that time. They even did a casket match with Yoko and Undertaker at the, I got it written down, 1994 Royal Rumble. And if you ever want to see great tag team action, it was, I forget what year it was, I thought I had that written down. Yeah, it was 1993, April 4th, WrestleMania 9 at Caesar's Palace against the Steiner Brothers. So pop that up on your YouTube sometime, and you'll see what some really great action. And all this he did at a young age. I mean, I think you're the youngest tag team champion in WWF ever, right? You were, anyways. And so, but I want to tell you a couple quick stories before Sam comes up here. Sam, it's the Samoan tradition. I've been to Samoa 6 times. We had tours over there. I met, we had Ken Patera was there, Kamala. We had a ball down there. And the Samoan way of life is, when you grow up on that island, you fight. You fight for your territory. It's a way of life. And they are used to fighting each other. And it's next day they're going to pat each other on the back like, okay, we fought each other and now we're friends. And it's in his blood. They know they don't back away from anything. And so the whole tradition, the Samoan tradition, is to be proud and never back down from anything. But on the other hand, you will never meet a kinder man, a gentler man than Sam. He loves people, he loves his students, he loves everybody he comes in contact with, and he cherishes all his time he had in WWF and all the other wrestling promotions he worked for. Now he has students in the school office. Alpha moved the school, well, he has a second school in Florida, and Sam runs the school and the WXW promotion in Allentown, Pennsylvania. And he loves every one of his students, believe me. There's a kinder side of that man. Now, I got 2 more quick things. One of Sam's passions is fishing. So about 7 years ago, we went fishing out of Westerly, Rhode Island on a 45-foot tuna fish boat. And we went out past Long Island, past Montauk Point. We went 30 miles out past Montauk Point at 3 o'clock in the morning. And Sam, he was pumped up. There's the one thing that he loves. He told me if he couldn't do wrestling, he'd want to be a fishing captain. So we got out there on that ocean. This captain had been doing it for 40 years, and the first mate on this boat had been doing it for 22 years. He'd seen everything. So we get out there, and about 7:30 in the morning, he caught a 110-pound yellowfin tuna. Now, if you've ever caught a tuna fish, it takes you about 2 hours to get it in the boat, and you have to struggle. He got the tuna in the boat, and he was out of his mind. He was so happy. And the first mate, his job is to cut up that tuna fish before we get back into port, which is a 3.5 hour ride. And so when you get back at the dock, you have your tuna already filleted. So as the mate, who's experienced for 22 years, is cutting the tuna fish, Sam says, I want a big hunk of that tuna. And the mate looks at him and says, you're gonna eat this tuna? And the blood is still dripping from the fillets as he said, yeah. So the mate looks at me and I said, give him a piece of tuna. And he says, no, I didn't want to give him that. Give him a piece of tuna. So Sam got a piece of tuna in the back of that boat and started to chomp on it and gnaw on it, and the blood was coming down his mouth, and he had the freshest sushi you could ever have. Well, the mate ran over to the side of the boat and barfed his guts out. And he was sick the whole way back into the port. And that's just a little story I had to tell. Okay, the second story, my last story before Sam comes up. Everywhere we went, they wanted to know, how come the Samoans are so big? How come Yokozuna was so big? How come Rikishi's so big? How come Eki, God rest his soul, Umonga was so big? And how come Sam, big boy? They were all big boys. So people would say, do they take steroids? Yeah, they do take steroids. We have to be honest about this. They all took steroids. It's Samoan steroids, though. Well, what's a Samoan steroid? Well, I think it's time it comes out in public so you know how all the Samoans got big and how they took their steroids. Now this, I am going to show you right now what Samoan steroids are. It's Hellman's mayonnaise. And that, my friends, is how the Samoans got so big. Sam, come on up. 2011 New England Hall of Fame. The great Samu.
Okay, wow. As you notice, I have everybody up here coming and saying all these good things because all these years I don't speak English. But at the same time, English is something that I always wanted to speak. My father and my uncle has always been the bone-eating, nose-picking, bone-breaking son of a guns. And at the same time, I was always proud of them, and I wanted to be that way. But at the same time, I said, why do we have to be so native? And then my dad said, well, try not to be native and see how much money you make. But the bottom line is, I was blessed. I was in a position at a young age to be able to be with all these superstars that are here today. And I was put in a position because I didn't get along with school. Me and school just didn't get along too well. And my father knew this, and he knew that wrestling was what was for me. Now, I'm in this position, I'm in the Hall of Fame. Now I'm gonna tell my son, school is where it's at. Wrestling, as we know, I mean, wrestling is a business. God has given my family that's something that's so proud that I can't even say. But at the same time, if I had the knowledge and all the capability to communicate with all these promoters and all these people that are trying to talk to you, and the bottom line is, what I'm saying is, I ain't the sharpest knife in the drawer. But I know what goes up comes down, and I know my son, and I'm very proud of my son, Lance. You'll be the third generation, and I'm proud of you and your school. Education is first, sports first. Wrestling is always going to be here. Wrestling I took for granted because I was kind of selfish. I seen my dad wrestle so many years in so many different territories. There was territories back then. It wasn't just one place to be, one person to impress. there was many places that you can go and achieve your accomplishments. I'm happy now to take over the Wild Samoan Training Center of Allentown, Pennsylvania, and represent my children, my students, and teach them the way of wrestling, the way it used to be, the old school way. I don't teach them how to talk for 25 minutes and wrestle for 3. I teach them how to go out there and bust your ass for these people that live and love this sport, and that's all of you. So all I can say is I'm very happy to have this award in front of me and in front of my peers and in front of people like Tito Santana, the Duke of Dorchester, Jay Strongbow, Ricky Martel. I mean, the list goes on and on. I could never have ever done any of what I've done without the help of people that were helping me along the way. I was blessed. I was in the right place at the right time. I had a lot of people sticking up for me, like Mr. J. A lot of people didn't believe in us, that we could do the things that we could do. And then there were people in the upper office that said, hey, give them a chance, give them a chance. And Jay helped me and my cousin Tonga Kid, which is Rikishi Fatu's brother, and his other brother is Umaga, and my other cousin is Yokozuna. I am very blessed to be here and part of a family that's brought so much to professional wrestling. But I want to say that it could not all be possible without all the help from my peers, from Tito, from Ricky Martel, especially Jay. My appreciation goes out to everyone, and I thank you all for my career and for appreciating everything that I've done to support wrestling. Some more steroids.